Welcome, everybody. It is the biggest day of 2025, at least until tomorrow. We have the Fed, we have GDP, we have Microsoft Meta reporting. So how is everybody doing out there? My name is Michael Camo. I'm Director of Content for T3 Live, and I'm here with my three frenemies, Derrick Oldensmith, Sami Abusaad, and JR Romero. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
How's the market treating everybody?
Got lucky. I got 100% gapper in my favor today.
Lucky.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. What name?
Ripple, R-E-P-L.
R-E-P-L.
Wasn't 100% gapper, but it went up 100%.
Yeah.
After the open.
Nice.
Yeah, that was, got in it on the hourly breakout yesterday, called it in the newsletter, and then today a big gap up.
Okay, all right. So the last time we got together, the crappy stocks were doing great. Drone stocks, weird aviation stocks, we're going, junk AI stocks were going through the roof. They've pulled that back a little bit, but yet the SPX has made record highs. So obviously we're coming into a very big 2 days with all the earnings. Plus we have the PCE price index. We have the Fed in 86 minutes. So I want to 116 minutes. So I wanted to ask you guys, so what do you think of the overall environment? Again, last time everybody was cautiously optimistic. I was 100% bullish on America, if you people remember. But I want to get your guys a refresh take on what's been going on. So Sami, how about you first?
I think we take out the low and we're lower on the daily chart. If we take out yesterday's low, I mean. If we take out yesterday's low. But barring the break of yesterday's low, the bias should clearly stay bullish.
Cool. All right. Derrick, how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, kind of similar thought process. I'm becoming increasingly less bullish about this market, but I have to respect the fact that we are still in this grindy upside trend, and those are the hardest things to short. So I'm looking for signals for that to break, potentially in either direction. One would be exactly what Sami just said. If we break through yesterday's low, I would expect follow through to the downside. I've also been looking, and we've seen it in some individual stocks like AMD. One of the ways in which like that 45-degree angle uptrend can end is obviously if it breaks lower, but sometimes it ends by breaking higher. Because if it breaks higher, you go to a parabolic move. The parabolic move can't be sustained. When that then crashes back down, which is inevitable at a certain point, a lot of times that's actually when you would lose the lower band of the upward channel that you're in for the market. So we're really at a spot here where I'm actually looking for this beautiful trend that we've been in since late April to end right as we go into a period of seasonal weakness, and right as we're going to start to lose a little bit of the systematic bid, and sentiment has just been getting a little bit silly recently. So that's where my head's at.
Okay, JR, how about you? What do you think?
You know, they say never short a dull market, and this has been certainly a very grindy kind of dull uptrend with a tremendous amount of opportunity. I've been focusing, which I never really do, on the really trashy small cap names. I mean, you should see the list of garbage I'm trading in the pre-market. You know, if my mother saw me, she'd be very, very upset. But yeah, just focusing on finding momentum. We have wild rotations in the market, you know, every 24 to 48 hours. You know, it's mega caps are hot, then aerospace, then uranium and nuclear energy. So this market just really demands that you pay attention, that you curate your charts, that you know your levels, and that you fish in the right pond for the day. If you're doing all those things, it's a pretty easy market to trade.
Okay, and I'll ask the audience a bold question. Are we going to SPX 7000? Let us know in the chat. And JR, we did notice your backdrop, 1718, no quarter. So do I take that to mean you are not taking any prisoners right now?
Right. This is a pirate's market. This is for my kids. They're big fans of the Edward Teach, so the pirate Blackbeard, and that is his no quarter flag, 1718. Okay. Thought it was apropos for this market.
Excellent. We love it. Okay. All right. So earnings season is in full swing. So according to FactSet, 80% of companies have beaten revenue and EPS estimates. It feels like the reactions are a bit all over the place. So like, what is the sense you guys are getting from earnings season so far? And I guess, Sami, we'll start with you because you are my earnings king, my hero.
Honestly, we're getting good follow through. Like the setups are producing nice follow through on the earnings plays. I just downloaded the earnings calendar right now, so I'm gonna get started on it as we speak. And but yeah, I'm getting some nice follow through, so I like it. A lot of companies are still gapping up, and yet the weak ones are following through to the downside. So I love it. So far, so good. Knock on wood.
Okay.
But this is these are the next this week and the next 2 weeks are going to be the busiest all quarter. So, get ready for a lot of gaps every morning.
Okay, and Sami, I noticed you put Apple in the newsletter the other day. Like, are you planning on holding that into earnings?
When is it reporting?
Tomorrow.
It's not looking too good. Yeah, that was a few days ago when it was basing for a base breakout, but it broke down, so it didn't trigger. And now I'm not so sure about it. I wouldn't short it because the 20 on the weekly is pointing up, and every single stock that looked weak with the 20 on the daily, but the 20 MA on the weekly was pointing up, every single one gapped up. So Apple will likely gap up, but I wouldn't do it because it looks too weak to me on the daily chart.
Okay, Derrick, how about you? Do you have any feelings on Meta or Microsoft going into tonight? Those are the two big boys coming later on.
If I'm not going to, but if I was going to be forced to put a position on for these into their reports, I think I would short them. I think that these earnings reports are going to be kind of similar to what we saw with like a Netflix. There's been a few situations like this where the numbers on the surface are fine, good, beating expectations a little bit, but the stocks, like Netflix, didn't go up on a pretty decent report. Like Micron was another one that's kind of technically, I guess, the end of last earnings season, but at the very end of June, Micron reported a pretty good report, and that's been the absolute high from that point. I'm kind of expecting a similar situation with Meta and Microsoft today, unless they completely blow out their numbers, then obviously it'll be higher. But I think inline reports, these things trade down. I think that they're just starting to be a little bit too heavily owned at this point, and that creates more risk to the downside. I would apply the same thing with Amazon tomorrow. The real wild card is actually Apple, because Apple has not been trading well. I don't like how Apple has traded these last couple of days, but it's probably like the least owned of the Mag 7 stocks right now, which to me means that barrier to move higher is actually going to be a little bit lower on the Apple report compared to some of these other stocks that, like, if you just look at that Microsoft chart, Microsoft hasn't had like a single down day since the last time it reported earnings. It's really been crazy, that upside grind that chart has been in. But
right, but it's grinding.
It's grinding. Yeah,
it's grinding up. So I think Microsoft actually if I may interject, I think Microsoft looks okay long, but Meta looks like IBM, looks like Spotify is rolling over on the data chart. So Meta to me looks slower. Microsoft, it's up a lot, like you said, but it's grindy. So it might still continue higher, but Meta doesn't look too good. It's not something I would short, but yeah, I think Meta looks lower.
Okay, so JR, with these big four coming over the next couple days, did you have any thoughts on them? Because it does seem like they've come except for Apple, they've come quite a long way from the April lows. Do you have any feelings on them?
Well, the market's punishing misses pretty severely, so they better put out some pretty good prints, especially Microsoft and Meta. And I agree with Derrick that the wild card could be Apple, which I've been long for a couple of weeks. Apple now, looking for a breakout that seems to never come. We shall see.
Okay, all right. Moving on. So, okay, these small caps, like, I'll say it a different way because Derrick brought up sort of the concept of certain things being like overowned, but so a report just came out that concentration in the SPX is at like new record levels. It's something like very small number of companies account for the whole index because, we've seen like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Meta flying through the roof. and I'll just throw it out to everybody because this, I feel like this happens in every bull market. People say that it's too concentrated. So again, I'll throw it out to everybody. Like, does that even matter?
It matters if you're, if you're playing the individual stocks, but does it? So it matters if you're trying to play, like, let's say IWM stocks, Russell 2000 stocks. They're not going to probably go up with and when you look at the market, it's going up, and you're like, what's going on? So it matters in that sense, but does it matter when it comes to the health of the market? Is the market unhealthy as a result of the concentration? I don't think so. I don't think so at all, honestly.
Okay, Derrick, JR, any thoughts on this concentration in these big stocks, or is it a non-issue?
For me, I've never found that breadth is a very good indicator. I feel like over the course of my career, as oftentimes as you're dealing with bad market breadth and it becomes a signal that everything's about to fall apart, the opposite happens sometimes also, where the leaders take a break and then everything else catches up. So I think it very much depends on the situation. In this current situation, I don't like that the leadership is entirely from AI right now. It's NVIDIA, it's AMD, it's SMCI now, even JR's favorite stock. And you're starting to see like that AMD breaking out. That was one that, we really started to short in earnest yesterday, though it's decently strong again this morning. What was that? I remember being long AMD for a move back above $100, and it was like so hard to get that stock to uptick 50 cents. And now here we are at 180, and this thing just ripped from 150 to 184 in like 6 trading sessions, with that slope really beginning to turn higher. And to me, that kind of feels like a last thrust higher is getting close for these semiconductors that are all powerful, and NVIDIA is such a large market cap, obviously, that it influences the SPYs and the Qs. I don't view the market as it's been trading most recently as healthy, where every piece of crap company, like, and they've been a big focus for me too. I know JR has been all over them. These crappy companies that don't even have revenue, that are trading at wild market caps. I mean, I shorted Kohl's on that gap up to $20 that day. I mean, that was another one that was just completely just stupid. And then at the same time as that's happening, you're seeing like this parabolic move coming in from AMD, and these semis seem like they're getting a little bit long in the tooth. So I just don't think that this market is getting healthy at this point. But that's not necessarily a timing signal for the market to top. I still need to see the SPY actually break in one of the ways that we were just kind of discussing. But it's interesting that this is happening right as we are going into a seasonally weak period here in August and September.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about the Fed. So I'm a moron. I don't know what they need to say or what they should say, or if they should do, but do any of you guys have any thoughts on what the market wants to hear to at least go higher? Because it looks like a rate cut is off the table for today, possibly off the table for next month. So do any of you guys have thoughts on what the market wants to hear from Powell?
Not sure personally.
Bueller?
Well, I mean, the bond market is sort of telling you there's no rate cut coming. You're going to see some real countervailing winds. On one hand, you've got employment, and on the other side of that medieval torture device, you've got housing. And the short end of the stick is it really sucks to be Jerome Powell right now. I don't know how he gets out of the countervailing wind pressures he's facing economically, on top of the political pressure from El Trumpo, El Presidente. So I think it's less of a story at this point. Everyone understands that we're not going to get a rate cut most likely this year unless we have massive economic pressure to do so, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. If you watch the prints this morning, for example, everything is pointing in the right direction economically. We're getting our tariff act together. Whether you think tariffs are ridiculous, which I'm on that camp, or not. They seem to be making progress toward pulling that plan off. Inflows are coming from that. The White House is touting that we're going to run the first budget surplus since the Clinton administration due to tariffs. We'll see if that's true, but all of this cocktail does not spell rate cuts to me. So I think it's going to just be less of a story, and I'm expecting a complete nothing burger today.
Okay, before we get to the really fun stuff, I want to talk about the small caps, even though I kind of want to slap myself. I feel like I've asked all of you guys about small caps like 9,000 times over the last year. Do you think, and I'll just throw it out to anybody, like whether from a technical perspective or a fundamental perspective, like is there hope for IWM? Because it's been underperforming for something like a decade. Tell me there's a chance.
There is a chance.
What is it with you and the IWM?
I don't know. I feel like I want to represent everybody. I want to give the little guy a chance. These little dog crap companies, biotech companies with no functioning drugs. Hey, Rich,
right.
You know what, Rich? I could say something very unkind back. I don't appreciate that. Daniel, how deep am I in IWM? I have no comment. I don't have to answer that question. So anybody have thoughts on IWM?
Well, I see that it got to the weekly resistance and it's holding pretty strong. It's dealing with that weekly resistance, and yet the trend is not breaking. So I think it's just going to go along with the Qs and the SPY. If the Qs and the SPY continue to grind up, I would expect the IWM to pop, especially since, again, it's basing at prior resistance. That's a bullish sign, and we have an uptrend on the data chart. Nothing really bearish about it. Is it slow a little bit? Sure. But if the Qs and the SPY maintain their uptrend, we should see the IWM pop.
Okay, all right. We're going to get into favorite names in a little bit, but of course we have to have some kind of heated debate before that happens. So the big question today is, and I'll give my answer first to give everybody time to prepare their answers, but what is the most underrated food? And we can talk about cuisines, nationalities, whatever, individual dishes. And I'm going to say chicken breast is the most overrated food.
Underrated or overrated?
It's overrated. Chicken breast is the most overrated food on earth. It is expensive. It is dry. In every situation where you could use a chicken breast, a thigh would do the job 1,000 times better.
I see where you're going with this, by the way.
Where am I going?
I'm not going to say, but you're talking about, chicken breast, thigh.
Say it, Sam.
I have no idea what Sammy is saying right now.
Sammy's going after dark.
But that take is wild. That's a wildly bad take. The chicken breast is just like, you need it in your life. You just need it in your life. It's healthy. It's clean. You could fry it to make it a little bit more delicious, but a little bit less healthy. But it's like the ultimate go-to staple of like a good, lean, clean protein that the price is right on it. So your take is wild. The most overrated food is the French fry. Mic drop.
Okay, Derrick thinks chicken breast is... I'll ask anybody out there, would you rather give up chicken breast or French fries?
All the unhealthy people that are watching this are all going to say that they would rather give up the chicken breasts instead of the French fry.
So here's the thing, dry. That's because you're not cooking it right. It's the most versatile thing out there. You could do so much with it. So I don't know why that's the most overrated.
And almost everything you could do with a chicken breast, you could do with a thigh and get 1,000,000 times more flavor.
Okay, with less protein, by the way, per ounce, but okay.
Protein as a whole is amazingly overrated. Fat and carbs are better than protein.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Fat guy Mike over here. Go get some ice cream.
Fat guy, I've lost almost 40 pounds in the last few years, and I've lost 13 pounds this year.
I'm sure the chicken breast helped you out a little bit compared to the French fry.
I am on a high carb and high fat diet. Believe it or not, I'm eating crap tons of bread and pasta, and I'm losing tons of weight. Protein sucks. Okay, JR, what do you think?
My answer is constant. Okay, Charlie Oscar whiskey. You gotta go with the cow. Why have chicken breast when you can have cow breast? In Texas, we call that the brisket.
Is brisket really cow breast? I never knew that. But JR, what is the most overrated?
I mean, as much as a cow can have a breast.
Okay, now you see what's going on here. Like any answer, any question I ask related to food, JR just says cow. I'm like, what's your favorite kind of cookie? And he says cow. No. What is the most overrated food? JR, let the record show that JR loves the cow. What is the most overrated food, JR?
The most overrated food is probably Chipotle. Sorry, Derek. I'm sorry.
It's pretty boring. I mean, it is really boring.
You gotta be kidding me. Chipotle is the most overrated food. You're just going after people. You don't even believe that. You're just taking shots, man.
Yeah, I just did it to piss Derek off. Yeah, because we're not talking about Tesla. I need at least one crazy run-up per episode.
The most overrated food is British food, also known as pizza and Chinese. That's the most overrated food.
British food is I mean, the best food you can eat in Britain, the best British food is Indian food. That shows you how bad British food is. They don't like it's so
okay. All right. So
there is no such thing as British food. I mean,
have we not spoken about that awful, incredibly terrible Tesla earnings report, JR? Have we not talked about that?
All right, we will.
Oh my God.
We will get to Tesla.
Was it the worst earnings report in history?
No.
And people bought it.
We are not. All right, hold on. We will get to Tesla in 1 second. But how is British food underrated if most people hate it?
Oh, you mean overrated? You keep saying underrated.
I don't know what I'm saying, but it is true. I have lost all control.
Their food was so bad, they got on boats and invaded half the world in search of one thing only: spices. I think we can close the case on how bad English food is. Like, it's bad.
Okay, all right. We're gonna, since we're okay. This issue is closed for now, but we should talk about Tesla's earnings report. So, Derek, like, how does it feel when Tesla has like this garbage earnings report, collapsing estimates, bad news galore, Elon Musk is making enemies in the White House, and yet the stock goes up? So would you say that Tesla is the greatest stock in the universe, Derek?
I mean, it's still not up from where it reported, but it's incredible how little that it's actually down. You know, they gapped it down really big on that report initially. I mean, that report was so bad. Like, it's so bad. And the stock is trading at like 180 PE multiple, and no one's buying their cars. They were like, the expectations of Tesla's earnings report was already a decline year over year in revenue and car sales and pretty much everything. And they managed to do even worse than those brutally terrible expectations on the report. The free cash flow number, the free cash flow is evaporating. It was so abysmally bad. This company, they can't do anything right. No one's buying the cars anywhere. They are losing the electric vehicle technology race to the Chinese. There's a hope and a dream that it's going to be robo-taxis, but everywhere I look, I'm seeing more deals get done for robo-taxis that Tesla is not involved with. Most recently, I think just this week we saw, what was it, WRD got a contract with Saudi Arabia to start being the robo-taxi company for Saudi Arabia. You're seeing Lucid step it up. They're starting to compete in robo-taxis. Waymo has thousands and thousands of hours of robo-taxi service already completed. Tesla's got like 7,000 or something like that. Like, it's not even close. And then the exact same thing is going to happen with the robots. Like everybody's like, oh yeah, but they're not a car company. They're a whatever the hell company. You take your pick. What makes you think that they're going to compete in robots? And what makes you think that actually building the robot itself is going to be where the big revenue even comes from? It's still the big winner on robots is probably still going to be NVIDIA. And then everybody else is going to be fighting for the scraps on, do you want to buy mine or somebody else's? The only positive thing I could ever think of at this point for Tesla is that there's an option here on Tesla where as this company implodes, Elon does the exact same thing he did with Solar City, which is, oh, this company is imploding, so I'll just have Tesla take over Solar City, and then I'll bail out my brother to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then I'll slowly let Solar City go bankrupt, but it won't even matter. And he could do the same thing because it's his other companies that's where it's at. I don't want to own Tesla. It's a terrible, terrible company. What I want to own is SpaceX. What I want to own is Starlink. That's where the money is. And eventually at some point, he could just combine all these companies into X. He's doing the same thing with Twitter right now also, right? The Twitter XAI combo that kind of just occurred. It's because Twitter is floundering and imploding. And he was like, all right, well, I'll just combine it with my AI company and I'll be able to save Twitter that way, which honestly is brilliant. I got to give Elon credit for that. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of impressive that the earnings report was that bad. And then all it took was the very next day for Elon to say that they're probably maybe going to start doing some robo-taxis in San Francisco for the cult of Elon to buy this thing pretty much all the way back up. But it's just a matter of time. The stock, I don't understand how the stock's not down to $200 after that earnings report, but give it some time.
Okay, just to sum up Derrick's comments, Tesla is doing unbelievable things no one could have ever imagined. Okay, all right. Okay, so it is.
Yeah, watch Tesla get into the what JOBY is in? What market is it called?
Aviation.
Yeah, but I mean it's the
EV.
Vertical takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
Watch Tesla get into that market. You'll see. I think that's where they're headed.
And we must remember that Elon's stated goal with Tesla was to spread EV technology. He never wanted 100% of the market. So all these other companies that are supposedly taking share from Tesla just shows the magnificence of Elon. So I'm going to overrule Derrick and say that everything is going according to plan.
I can't disagree. I mean, I can't disagree with what you just said, honestly, at all. I think that Elon has been the most brilliant storyteller of all time, and he's been able to do some fascinating things that have never been done before in history to be able to create a farce of a company to be able to trade at this PE for such a long period of time, to be honest. But at the end of the day, price is what pays. So I can sit here and I can go on and on and on about just how awful of a company Tesla is. But if it goes from 318 to 420, would you rather be long or short? If it goes from 318 to 220, would you rather be long or short? For me, I just want to be positioned in the direction in which the stock is moving. And when I look at the stock right now, as long as it doesn't really recapture the 330 to 340 area on the upside, I would rather be short the stock than long the stock. If it were able to get back above that 330 to 340 area, then I think I got to get out of the short, kind of reassess the situation. The stock is actually building out like a huge wedge on its daily chart right now, like a huge symmetrical triangle. So we'll see, which way that breaks. But below $300, Tesla starts looking pretty bad. If it get above 330 to 340, you have no business being short the stock because only price pays.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it is almost time to close out, but I need some names. I really need some names.
I'll give you some names.
Excellent. Do you want to share charts or?
Nah.
What?
Domo, DOMO. Looking good on the weekly, the monthly. DOMO. I like it higher. I'm not sharing charts. Do you want me to share charts?
If you want, it's up to you.
All right. I don't have a whole lot of names. That's why I thought I wouldn't. They changed the interface, looks like. How do I share charts?
Click at the bottom of the screen, the little monitor icon with the plus in it. Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it. Let's share some charts. So give me 1 sec.
There should be a ticker. Why does no company have FOMO as a ticker? Like that would be awesome for Robinhood or Webull.
Where
There is a FOMO ETF.
Is there? Okay, remove. All right. Okay, Sammy, you're good.
I'm good, but where's the chart?
Those are my charts, buddy.
Whoops.
Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. So here's the name that I like. DOMO. It's not amazing on the daily, but look at the weekly. Let me zoom out a little bit. That's a nice name. That's a nice chart. As long as it doesn't break that red bar's low. So I like it higher, and then the monthly looks good. That's pretty good. But again, the only issue is that resistance is pretty close above. And then I also like Aspen, ASPN, transitioning on the daily. Weekly looks good. Monthly looks good. But honestly, I'm focused mostly on the earnings plays. I think Microsoft is a good long, and I think Meta is a short. But when it comes to the big names, I think BMY is going to be a good short for tonight. I'm still scanning, still finding plays, but we'll see. Yeah, still looking. But let's see. Other swings. Let me take a look real quick. This stock, JR, remember the INSM?
Mm-hmm.
It's hot as hell. Look at this.
Yeah, amazing.
Looks good. It's up a lot, but I mean, it looks good.
It was an amazing run we had.
Believe it or not, I like the NASDAQ, NDAQ, but don't love it. So I don't have a ton of names for you today. I think Solana might be higher. It's pulling back here on the daily. You see it? So it's a deep pullback. So I wouldn't do it on the first buy side. That's the leveraged ETF for futures ETF for Solana crypto. Deep pullback to the right location. Let's take a look at the XXRP, which is the leveraged right location also. I wouldn't be in a hurry to jump in, but if it can pop, drop, and then pop again, create a W pattern, then that would be the time to probably get it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm currently scanning the earnings list, putting together a list of stocks that I like, and then I'll narrow it down to a handful, and then send out the alert later on today. So we'll see. But yeah, in terms of swing or longer term, I like the Domo, I like the Aspen, and the INSM. Probably those are my three favorite at the moment.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you, Sammy. JR, you want to step up?
Sure. So NI, nice source with a buy point there through 41.15. I don't think it's too late to get in. Looking for a move to 47. This multi-week base. LPL Financial, beautiful tight base here. Rising anchored VWAP, 390. Looking for 490 and 554. So measured move and I guess 20% extension there. Agnico Eagle Mines. This had any price acceptance over 127, but I really like this daily base. That's about 2 million shares a day in volume. Ralph Lauren. I don't usually trade these clothing stocks, but I love the space. It's a relatively tight stop under 278 for a move to 372, maybe 400. MGNI building a really nice, relatively tight right side base here, looking for a breakthrough to 25.27 to 34 and 40. Stryker Corporation, it's in the buy zone here, 398, looking for 454, 470. Love how this base tightened up here. Get a nice little BCP here a couple of weeks ago. Popped through the buy point, the buy zone there, and it's continuing to consolidate. See Hasbro still basing, looking for a break of 70.83 for a move to 97. And I think that is it. BVN, yeah, this is the last one. This is a little bit lower volume, but I think silver is about to go again. Buy zone 1744. First and secondary targets 2065 and 2260. And that is what I got.
Excellent, JR. Thank you. Derrick, how about you? What do you love here?
I got some wild takes. So, first of all, top-down approach. I am liking this market less and less and less at this leg of things. I think yesterday's candle is really interesting. If we can get continuation through that low at any point today, tomorrow. If we get above yesterday's high, though, then it's off the table, at least for the moment. I was just describing this Tesla wedge. This is, I got the chart share up. Let me just show it to you here. So this Tesla wedge, you could even say it kind of goes back to all-time highs, but most recently from this May high and June low, you can just see this tightening pattern here of lower highs and higher lows. So we will see which way that breaks. I'm obviously biased to the downside. I'm currently positioned for the downside, but it needs to get beneath 300 to technically trigger. I do like, if you want to get a jump start on that it retraced to 330, which is an important level, failed at it, and it's potentially giving a little bit of an inside and down today with some relative weakness. But if the stock really gets above the 330 to 340 area, the short is off the table, and you can potentially even buy it. I probably won't, but you could potentially even buy it. Similar to what I think JR is doing, there's so much opportunity in finding whatever the crazy stock is. All these meme names being back in play is just, it's a trader's dream on both sides. And I just pull up QS. This is one that I was short and I just got out of kind of into $9. But the opportunity is there on both sides. When you're early on these breakouts, when the volume is coming in and the squeezes come in, there's a lot of money to be made to the long side. And we're seeing these things kind of trigger all the time recently. And just using this as a look back example, but do your own research and find your own. QS on the break of this 7, next thing you know, you're getting a vertical move up to 15. The thing goes completely insane, completely parabolic. We come in, we shorted off this massive extension, and next thing you know, I'm liquidating the short as it approaches $9. And there's just been so many of these that have been out there. KSS, the short into 20 was just another gift. I remember we were shorting open on that insane pop, just another gift. It's just been one after the next. Same deal. You could have bought this too for the initial move higher if you had it on the radar for the breakout for whatever reason. I got to pull up the semiconductors. So the semiconductors here have been the real leader. There's a stat that I've seen that shows that this is the biggest, and I just pulled up AMD, but I could pull up SMH. This is the biggest vertical line move in SMH from a low to a high that still hasn't confirmed itself yet ever. The biggest prior to that was a 49% move off the COVID low before it eventually put in a peak and gave a pullback. This is up to 75% or something like that. And if you type up these names, so I can give you an example of this pattern the other way first, right? So we started to point out that some of these names were actually breaking their trend to the upside, which I was just discussing this with the SPY. When a chart breaks to the upside, a lot of times that actually becomes the signal that breaks it to the downside. So we saw a coin do that and begin to go parabolic and give this doji and then this gap up, and we called out a short, and now it's broken through further support, and this chart is kind of broken. We saw Robinhood kind of do the same thing, be in this tight trend here, begin to break that trend to the upside, give a doji, failure down. It's established some support at 100. We'll see if that 100 support gets lost or if that just becomes the bigger picture higher low that brings us back up. But you're starting to now see a similar pattern come in on some of these semiconductors. This is the AMD move I was just talking about, in this upside trend here, but accelerating out of that trend to the upside in a way that I think is unsustainable in the long run. Really started to short this a bit more heavily yesterday, not getting any follow through on it today, at least not yet. These semis are incredibly, incredibly strong. But these types of moves, I think, mark the beginning of the end. You can see that in AMD. You can see that in AVGO, been in a nice trend, but it's starting to break that trend to the upside. You can see it a little bit in NVIDIA with its strength that's coming in. JR's favorite stock, SMCI, is starting to break out and go crazy. And we called the long out, by the way, for SMCI through 46. There's been and then another great long here, through 50, and then a retest of 50 that worked also. There's been good money to be made to the long side, but now these things are starting to move in a way that I think is unsustainable, and it's been the most leading sector that's out there. And I think it's helping to potentially set up a failure actually in the market overall. So I'm starting to try to press those semis short for a retracement. And don't get me wrong, unlike Tesla, which I can shit on all day. I'm allowed to say that word because of its valuation and the company is imploding and everything else. I think that NVIDIA is a phenomenal company. I don't even really think it's that expensive from a fundamental basis. It's just at a point here where it's starting to really begin to break higher after it has done a move from $85 to $180. So I just think that some of these are getting a little bit long in the tooth. And then the final one that I would throw out there, which, you know, call me crazy, I think Palantir can break through the low from the previous 2 days. This is an if-then statement that the stock is done. There's another one, great company, insane valuation. The valuation makes sense when they're the only game in town, but they're not the only game in town anymore. They're starting to see competition from ChatGPT. 2 days ago, we got a headline that they're starting to see competition from the Department of Defense in and of itself. I don't think that in the face of increased competition that Palantir can maintain that multiple. But the trend is your friend. The uptrend is clearly there. Technically, this is a bull pattern. But from a failed move comes a fast move. I'm not going to predict here ahead of time. That I'm just going to tell you that I am prepared for it to fail. And if it does, I'm ready to kind of pound this thing to the short side on the way down through the 153 to 155 area if it were to break. So a bunch of stuff on the radar, and we'll see if this market trend ever ends or if we just go up for infinity.
All right. Well, I am betting on infinity, and I don't know what happened to JR. He is JR, are you going to heaven or something? What is going on there?
I'm growing angel wings. Sorry.
Bro, look at those screens.
Oh yeah, no, I had the sun right behind my webcam. That's what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Thank you, boys. This was fun. Everybody out there, good luck. You're in for a wild 2 days. Make some money. Have some fun. All right. Everybody have a great day.